Welcome to the Love Government. I'm Dennis Leary. We are doing a series of talks called Sex Lover. We're now on the 6th talk in this series. We're talking about the center of the sexual activity in the love culture. Sex is where it's at as far as solving our problems. In my opinion, all of the problems that we have today, both personal, social, and global, have a sexual problem at their base, at their core. Sometimes it's expressed as a war between the sexes. It's men versus women. And I look at it in terms of patriarchy. The pyramid of patriarchy has killed off largely this other pyramid down here at the sexual center of a woman-centered culture. You've taken that woman-centered culture and brought it up to the chest area and made a spade out of it, up here. This is a chest pump basically up here. But the real heart is down here, at that woman's triangle. The triangle shape and the heart shape, oh, this way. I made it the wrong way. This is the male triangle, this way. The female triangle is this way. Broad at the top, pointing to the earth, bottom. And the heart shape is simply rounded off points, and indented at the top, and then outdented at the bottom. The Valentine heart derives from the vulva heart. Again, once again, in the rewrite of patriarchy, they don't trust the woman. In fact, most of true patriarch hates the woman culture and hates women, and the history bears this out. So they got away from this area below the belt, which is a woman's natural center of gravity around her hips, her pelvis, and then they brought it up here to the chest. And this becomes a romantic heart, Roman, like a Roman Empire type, up here at the heart, which is about bulking up here, becoming a real he-man, a soldier, you know, Hail Caesar, a soldier, and the heart of a soldier, which also is romantic. There's a romance to war. There's a romance to money. There's a romance to greed. Otherwise, it wouldn't get too far. It's romanticized, made a Roman, part of the Roman Empire. Now we have another empire, but it's not called the Roman Empire anymore. But the same thing. The real heart of the culture is down here. But it's been suppressed. We're talking about this culture then, and the sexual activity that was going on was open, communal, well-governed, intensely pleasurable because of the clitoris, this clitoris here, which is really down here, right? Pendant, the clitoris is not up here, it's down here. So, but this is how pendants are made, right? So we, in a love culture, we're expressing ourselves sexually freely. This bonded the community together. Can you just imagine? When you have nothing to hide, you're living in a small community with little or no clothes, you have group sex routinely, and in sex, in orgasming, lots of things can happen, both desirable and undesirable, especially in our culture. Orgasm and climax in sex can kick off all kinds of stuff and, you know, bring it up. So in the relationship or in the climaxing, if stuff is repressed from our childhood, if we were sexually abused as a child, and then you get this energy coming up, it can explode, and it can be explosive. It can rip everything apart, rip a relationship apart very quickly. It's a very sensitive area, especially when people are coupling up. You're putting a huge burden on your partner and on yourself. that partner is supposed to supply your emotional needs? I mean, how many can do that? It's pretty impossible unless the... No, it's impossible. I have to supply my own needs with the help of other people, but you can't dump that on another person. And a coupling, a relationship, unless they're very mature, it tends to do that. It's your fault. You made me do that. If it weren't for you, I have all this grief and pain because you broke up with me. Why did you leave? I don't want to look at what maybe she left because of me, because of my stuff. Maybe she couldn't take it anymore. No, it's like, it gets crazy. It really gets crazy. If you're in a love culture, in a group setting, if problems arise, they get diluted because you don't have all your eggs in one basket. You're not tied to one partner romantically or sexually. I mean, you can have special people, but the sex is it's set up. It's to be with the whole community. So everybody's sexual needs are taken into account. So if one person is a bad apple, so to speak, it doesn't. You got plenty of other partners you can get together with, and so that person loses the power. They can't use a tyranny of weakness approach. And at the same time, the community will help the person that's having problems. A person that has problems in a community, if it's well knit and it's will have an abundance of help. Because in a loving community, everybody wants to help the weakest individual. If they're unhealthy, they want to help them. And the weakest people in the community, the children, the babies, and the elderly, are taken care of. Today, in our culture, they're not. The child-rearing practices today are terrible, for the most part. Where's the loving community? You ship them off to a daycare center or to a school. They jump back and forth between parents or grandparents or neighbors while the woman is desperately trying to make a living. It's not a workable solution. It's a terrible solution. But it's purposely fostered by the elites, the so-called, the good people of our society, to build a pyramid system. So they've got to attack the group aspect of sex. They ridicule it or they shuffle it off and marginalize it and say, oh yeah, they're just a bunch of swingers. Look at them. Oh. Or they're partying. Sex for them is partying, Where's the real community? Where's the community? It's not here anymore that I know of. Maybe it is, and if it is, they're not going to advertise the fact. If you have a good thing going, you don't want to go public with it too much because you know what's going to happen. You're going to be a lightning rod, and you're going to get struck. You try to get a little bit above the crowd, and if you're any kind of a threat, you will be taken care of. You'll be brought down, if at all possible. If you're just by yourself, or you're in a little couple, or a little small group, a little clique, it's dangerous out there. There's high waters everywhere. In the love culture, we had protection, though. As a group, we had protection. And part of it was that there were built-in mechanisms which I've gone over in other places. So anybody that's interested can do a bunch of reading, look at other videos, hear audios. It's all there. And I use the handbook, the manual, handy reference point, just a way. The hand is like it resembles the clitoris, resembles the whole body. And then the 5 points of the handbook, which I won't go into detail here, but let me just quickly review them for the record. The thumb stands for something. It stands for the clitoris because it's the head of the clitoris, because it's more or less shaped like a clitoris. Little bud, little nipple, little pearl. And then the tongue also resembles the tongue resembles the thumb in this position, and that means language. thinking, as I said, the head. So this is kind of like the head of the clitoris. And then the four fingers stand for other aspects of the love government. The first one is diet. We advocate for a Eden vegan diet. That means a healthy vegan, which means you can eat lower life forms if they do not have red blood like we do, and they do not have eyes like we do. So that excludes a lot of meat. But oysters, clams, snails, all kinds of stuff like that would qualify. And in Eden, they would have eaten that kind of stuff. In addition to the abundant fruit and abundant leaves and vegetables and nuts and seeds, they didn't have to work for food. They went out and picked it, or they went and dug it up. The diet then is number one. Now our diets today are fast food, TV dinners. Diets include other things that we take into our system, like drugs, caffeine, nicotine, codeine, alcohol, marijuana, you name it. And then all the pharmaceutical companies are one of the biggest operations on the planet. Because we're so lacking in love, which is the natural endorphin, the natural pleasure-producing principle, which we don't have now much. So we got to resort to all these drugs. So that's this finger. This one is about thinking, clitoral thinking. This is diet, vegan, Eden vegan diet. You can get sick on a vegan diet if you're not careful. It's got to be Eden vegan, means healthy. And then this finger is the sex finger. This is mainly about pets. Pets are a very, very insidious suck on our energy, because they appear to be so wonderful, so cute, so cuddly. But in the process of taking a pet on, it becomes a big business, first of all, lots of money involved, and it meets neurotic needs that are not being met in a normal way, a natural way. So we have to enslave a whole species of animals. Look at the whole species. A whole species. I got animal pictures around here. Wild animals I love, because I have a wild part in me, right? I don't want to, I don't want something around my neck or put in a pen or a corral or being slaughtered and eaten and, dragged around and told what to do. Pethood is another big problem, and the love government says no, no, no. Now, I've already talked about coupling up marriages is a big problem. This coupling system undercuts the whole community. And the next one, this little finger represents culture or money. The money system today is one huge, huge counterfeit scheme, exploitation, murderous scheme. So in the love government we say, don't take interest on your money. At the very minimum, don't take interest on the money. Don't get involved in stocks and bonds, dividends, interest, usury. It's called usury. You use me. It's terrible, terrible. Those are the five big problems we've got, and these have to be addressed if we want to be a true lover and if we want to save our species. SOS, save our species. I refer to this handbook, shorthand way of doing things many times. So it's new, it's different, and it's countercultural, so it's very unpopular. Very unpopular. But it cuts against the culture like a sword, It's not popular. Let's conclude this now, and we thank you very much for being with us. This is not just me talking. I'm getting support by lots of other people in this process. So I'm just one. I'm no different than anybody else. Thank you very much. And love, love, and more love.